also provided the actual separation of consignment application which had been approved. That was dated the 19th of February 2024, allegedly signed by the KRA director. Sorry, so this document was confirming that the consignment that Daniel had mentioned in conversation with me a week earlier, that Alan or Quantum had 1,500 kilograms in as a consignment. Is a splitting of that to 150 and 1,350, and the 150 kilograms was completely independent of this original consignment.
Yeah, and I pray to mark the separation of consignment application to KRA from KRA dated 19th February 2024 as PMFI 4B. Which other document?
He also provided then the, it was called the payment slip for the fine itself, which was again generated by the Kenya Revenue Authority, issued to Atvad Trading Limited, care of Quantum Minerals, the payer being Daniel Ogotti. This was dated the 12th of February 2024, and it showed the expiry date of when payment was required as the 14th of March 2024.
So it's still gonna be. When is it dated?
Pardon?
When is the last document you've identified for the fine?
It's called the payment slip, and it's issued by Kenya Revenue Authority, and it's dated the 12th of February 2024.
And I know it is in the list of documents that was applied. Okay, to mark it as PMFI 4C. Proceed.
Okay, so they provided this, and on this was provided. These were shown but not provided to me on the day, right, when the contract was signed. But I didn't get copies of these or the originals until subsequently, because I was asking for it.
So now, once you were shown these documents, what proceeded after?
Right, so I still wasn't comfortable with saying, make the payment, we've got problems, we've got charges, we've got dummerage, we've got various charges going on. So I said, I need the documents. And plus, I explained to Daniel on the 3rd of March that I'm not going to send any money because I'm not happy with the escrow agreement, which was drawn on the 20th of February. So I said I'm not happy with that.
Going to the material issue, were the documents supplied to you?
They were, but we need to go through the process of how they were supplied. It's very important.
Now, you say that initially they were shown to you. So when were they
Yes.
supplied to you?
So the ones that I've just related to 150 kilograms, they were supplied to me by the customs officer at Feroda House on the 12th of March.
Which year?
2024.
You were in company of who when you received the document?
Mr. Katetti and Daniel Lagat. They took me to Feroda House on the 12th because I insisted on verifying the fine. It was from customs. I insisted on checking the documentation. I wanted the original certificates. And so they said, well, we have to take you to customs. And so they arranged to take me to customs at Feroda House, which was done on the morning of the 12th of March.
Okay. So now the deadline...
But we missed one important thing which is related to this, if I may.
Okay.
The document that was signed at Masotta's on the 20th of February, I explained both to Masotta and to Mr. Agat, I'm not going with this. I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable with the document. I don't like the way it's constructed. It doesn't make reference to the 1562. It doesn't make reference to the gold. I'm not happy. So that document was redrafted. A new document replaced it on the 3rd of March. Actually, it was the 4th of March, but we drafted it on the 3rd of March.
Hold on.
And there is emails, right, pertaining to this, which show that this was what was done.
So what precise document was redrafted? Because there was the letter of engagement, there was also a contract.
Right, so in this one, the whole thing was redrafted. So there was a letter of engagement.
Hold on a bit. Dated?
It's dated correctly this time. It's dated the 3rd of March 2024, although that's a Sunday, and we actually went to the office on a Monday morning, which was the 4th of March. But that's a Sunday. Advocates, and was witnessed by Mr. Conti. This was done on the 4th in Masotta's office.
You're not free to mark the phrase argument.
Now it's important.
Escrow argument as PMFI 5B. Now, the difference between this contract and the other one, PMFI.
Yeah, because this contract specifically related to the 1562 transfer. It specifically related to the gold. It specifically related to when the money can be dispersed. And if you look at the letter, I said, I'm not paying no 10%. I don't care what you do with PAD. So the 10% was removed. And then there was another 10% that if you look at the previous letter dated the 20th, you're saying if you ask for your funds to be refunded, then we will deduct 10%. I said, no, you won't. You will, if I ask for the funds to be refunded, you will refund all of them.
Was that it?
So there was difference between the letters of engagement then. So I said, the 20th is rescinded, it is no longer valid. This is the one that now regulates the transfer of the 1562 fine. And so we all signed it on the 4th of March in his office.
Now, when you were signing this, it's important. Now, the parties in this case, in this escrow agreement, who are the parties?
In the escrow agreement, the parties in the escrow agreement is the solicitor, PatVat Trading and Asianic, and PatVat Trading is acting as the agent on behalf of Quantum Minerals.
So PatVat, Asianic and the solicitor?
Yes.
Now, are you aware if there were any, so as to authenticate the parties present, if there were any...
Pardon?
So as to authenticate the parties present during the signing of the contract, were there any documents or identification documents that were
yes.
Attached?
Yes, because I requested, yes it was, and he said Masotta Abanga Victor, dated the 1st of January 2024, practice number LSK 2024, 00832.
Just hold on a bit. In April to mark the said practice certificate as PMFI. It's attached to the escrow account 5C. Now, on the part of the, other than just the practicing certificate, what other document did you require from the solicitor?
I asked him for his certificate of registration of a limited liability partnership, which he provided.
For which partnership?
This certificate of registration of a limited liability partnership.
Yes, I'm saying identified which partnership was this that was registered.
Sorry, identified Masota, Abunga and Associates Advocates LLP.
When is it dated?
It was dated the 15th of July 2022.
And I put to mark it as PMFI 5D.
And the most important one that I asked him for was his profession.
How professional?
Of his professional indemnity policy, which he provided. Indemnity insurance.
From which insurance? The document was from which insurance?
Oh, sorry, from Britain.
Britain professional indemnity as PMFI 6E. And now, as to the other parties who are present, what identification documents did each party provide?
So Mr. Agot, he provided a copy of his passport, and he provided a certificate of incorporation, certifying.
Slowly. So Daniel Agot
Slowly,
provided.
Sorry.
Passport.
Was it?
And I pray to mark the passport for Daniel Agot as PMFI 6F. Sorry, we had 5, so 5.
Was it?
5F. Did he provide any other document?
Yes, he provided his certificate of incorporation for PACVAD Trading Limited.
And now on the part of your company?
Passport.
And I pray to mark the passport for the complainant as PMFI 5H. And the passport for as PMFI 5.
That this fine is payable, and consignment will definitely leave this time. Now, at that point,
pause there a bit. Proceed.
So at that point, Mr. Agot said he will arrange a meeting directly with Customs. I needed to leave, and we discussed it, and based on the revised document of the 3rd, he said there's no risk to you now, because you can transfer the funds so that we're ready, because Customs will want to see that you've paid if you're going to go and see them. I said, okay.
Proceed.
I said, okay, so now, right, unless I attend personally at Masoto's office and sign the document to release them, they won't be released. And he goes, yeah, and they'll want to see, Customs will want to see that the funds are in place, that you're not going to mess them around. And I said, well, I don't think that's the case. So that's what happened on the 3rd or 4th of March, 4th of March, okay. I then had to leave and go back to Europe. I went back to Europe. I then arranged the payment, and I made the payment on the 8th of the money. I made the payment on the 7th, 6th, 7th and 8th, so it would have come in around about the 8th. I provided the proof of payment, and Mr. Agot and Mr. Kateti confirmed that we would be going to see customs on the 11th, which I couldn't make, so it was rearranged for the 12th.
Who's that bit?
Sorry.
Payment when?
Okay, so one of the payments was made on the 7th of March.
How much was
That
it?
was from Citibank. That was for I can't convert it into euros now, but that was made for exactly £1 million sterling. And it went to Masota Bunga Associates, and you should have a document there from Citibank in Singapore. You have it?
You're saying when was the payment made?
That was made on the 7th of March. And it shows on there. It shows the overseas transfer to Masota Bunga Associates Advocates for
Just
£1 million sterling. Which
proceed.
then there was a payment made on the 8th of March for €256,436.
And then, how much? How much?
Repeat the amount.
€256,436. There was a payment made on the 7th of March as well for €13,760, because I think that was a shortfall they were saying. Yeah, so there were three payments made. One from Citibank, which converted to €1,168,264.
1 million?
The other ones were
Repeat 1 million.
€1,168,264. That was made in sterling but converted to euros. Then there was €256,436. And then there was a shortfall, which was the 13,760, which equated to the invoice that had been raised by Patvad, Mr. Agot, in the sum of $1,438,460. That invoice was raised, as you know, on the 20th of February.
Now, the four invoices. I agreed to mark the four invoices.
What are you making?
The respective four invoices mentioned as PMFI 6 A to D. Oh, a quick calculation. In total, how much did you pay?
€1,438,460.
Now, did that cover the?
Yeah, more than covered the $1,562,000.
So why did you pay the extra sum?
Pardon? It was what it worked out at the time, right? And because there was supposed to be when we took the 150 kg, there was going to be some costs for smelting it. There were going to be costs for doing various other things, so I covered that as well.
So there were other incidental costs.
Yes. Because he had applied for his bond, which would allow him to then export.
All right. Now, you were making this
initial
payment when you're overseas.
Pardon? Yes, they're all overseas payments.
Now, what was the agreement once the payment is made?
So the agreement was once the payment is made, and I had all the documentation, because I still haven't got all the documentation yet, by the way, right? Then they would export the 142 kgs first. That's what the agreement was.
To where?
Pardon?
To where was it to be exported to?
Is to be exported to Italy. That's where we always export our product to the refineries there.
And what was the estimated date or period when it was to be exported?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
When was the when was the
Let's-
estimated date or period when the product was to be, consignment was to be exported?
It was supposed to be exported within 3 days of making the payment, because that's how long they said it would take to generate the paperwork. But I should say one thing here before we go any further, if that's okay.
Was there a bit?
Was it?
Yes.
On the 12th, when I went to
12th
Rhoda
of
House,
which,
which is
please mention 12th of which month and year?
on the 12th of March 2024, I went to Feroda House with Mr. Agot and Mr. Katetti, and there they introduced me to a customs officer called Susan Okechi. We went into her office. The office had a large number of files, and she introduced me as one of the senior officers responsible for cargo valuations and manifests. There was
there to allow the magistrate an opportunity to write?
Was it?
Proceed on.
So I had gone there to verify that the fine was imposed by the KRA, and that the insurance bond that Mr. Agot had applied for was genuine and approved, and that the whole transaction was authentic, and I wanted my original certificates for the ownership of the 150 kg as well as the certificates of origin. So that's what I went to do there, and that's what we went through. So she had my file there, Asianic. Both Mr. Agot and Mr. Katetti were there. And you remember, you have to go through security and you have to show your ID. I didn't have to show any ID. But Mr. Agot did. He showed his Kenya card, I believe, which I had a copy of because he had provided it to me the week before.
Let's go to the key issues. Mm-hmm.
Right, so we went in to the ground floor office on the right-hand side, which within was another glass office. We went in there, and this Susan Okechi, who I subsequently found out was not Okechi actually, it was actually a different name, went through the file and showed me the history of all the transactions going back all the way to Marco. She showed me the documents, she showed me the fine, she showed me the insurance bond application and the approval. She showed me the whole file, verifying everything that these gentlemen had been explaining to me. She then showed me the original certificates, for the 150 kg, which I had only seen photocopies of, and I asked if I could have them. And initially she was reluctant and said, no, you need to make sure the payment was made. And I explained to her...
Was there a bit?
Is it?
Proceed on.
It has been sent, and it is in Kenya. It's actually at the bank. All I need to do is sign the disbursement form, which I can do, but I'm not going to sign it until I have these certificates showing that I'm the owner of the 150 kg. So there was a conversation between Mr. Ogot and this Susan, and I refused to say that I'm going to make the payment until I get the certificates, and they agreed to give me the certificates. And those certificates that I mentioned to you earlier, which is the 150 kg ownership and the certificate of origin, were provided to me, having verified all the other documents within that file.
That's it.
So other than the certificate of origin and ownership, was there any other document you were supplied with?
Not at that stage, not on that day.
All right.
Right.
So proceed on. Once you verified, now you've been supplied with the major documents, you've confirmed you have a file having a history of the transaction, what happened, and you've made payment.
So then it was like, I was asked, right, well, we provided what we said we would do, which was coming from Mr. Ogot and Mr. Kaketi, constantly reaffirming what Mr. Ogot was saying. And obviously, I trusted Mr. Kaketi on the basis that he was supposed to be independent and providing advice independently. So we then went to Masota's office, the solicitor's office, after that. We arrived at solicitor's office. In between, we had called, I had called Marco Conti and Giovanni to meet us there. So we arrived at Masota's office, and he was already waiting with a document ready to do the disbursement. We went into the office. He provided me with the document. I looked at it and I said, why do you do this? Why do you keep on putting 2023? There's a conflict here. He provided me with a disbursement document, authority to disburse funds, dated the 12th of March 2023. And yet the body of the document related to his appointment on the 29th of March 2024. So you've got an array of documents with dates that don't make sense.
So the letter of engagement was dated?
This wasn't a letter of engagement. The letter of engagement was actually dated. This is related to the 3rd of March 2024.
Oh, sorry, you say the authority of disbursement was dated?
Yeah, this document was dated the 12th of March 2023.
And I pray to mark it as PM5.
I remember because we had an argument.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this clearly because he was standing up and saying, I have to go, I'm in a rush, the bank is waiting. But I said, look, your appointment was on the 29th of January 2024. That's what you're saying in here. I said, this relates to the 3rd of March, right? The 3rd of March agreement that we did. I'm now here, I'm ready to sign, to disperse.
So
He said, well, what difference does it make to you?
did you sign
I said, yeah, I signed it because he was in a rush. He was hurrying. I got to go. If you don't do this, you're not going to get your product out.
Okay.
It was for this. You've given them 3 days. I've got to get the money over to. Remember, we changed it because I said all the money has to go to the Kenya Revenue Authority because the fine was $1,562,000. So you can't start taking off 10% and giving 10%. It's all got to go to the Revenue Authority.
So it was.
So he said, I've got. So he was saying, I'm in a rush now. I've got to make this because these gentlemen have got limited time now to produce a document. So I said, okay, go.
So it was authorizing disbursement of how much?
The full amount. So he's funds to the tune of €1,438,460. He says there.
Okay.
That's what he must have received in the account. €1,438,460. Yeah.
And I pretty much it as PMFI7 if I've not mentioned. Now,
And as far as I was concerned, this was going to the Kenya Revenue Authority now,
that, to the best of your knowledge. Now, what
to the
happened
best of my knowledge.
hereafter?
Okay, so then after that, then Mr. Agot obviously started working on the shipment for the 142 kg export. And he then produced a number of documents and came to the hotel. So that was the 12th. A day went by, which was... So he came on the 14th of March, which was a Thursday then. And he came and he brought some documents with him for the 142 consignment.
So which documents were these?
Okay, so I don't have them. You have the originals. There was the
Yes.
certificate. There was the certificate of origin for the 142.
Sorry, just a bit slowly.
The certificate of origin,
For the 142 kilograms.
yes, for the 142 kilograms.
Can I pray to mark it as PMFI 8A?
It was under EAC reference V92228624.
8624.
Yes. There was the certificate of ownership for the 142 consignment, reference number 0999255714-2024.
And I pray to mark it the certificate of ownership as PMFI 8B. The other one?
Then there was the COMESA simplified COMESA simplified ownership certificate for the 142. Reference number 99154593-2024.
And I pray to mark the COMESA simplified ownership certificate as PMFI 8C. Proceed.
And then there was the mineral export certificate permit number MEC/748-501/2024.
You called it mineral export?
Mineral export certificate.
And I pray to mark it as PMFI 8C. D. Proceed with the next document.
There was a packing list. I have to look on my phone, sorry. Packing list was...
Oh, yeah. All right. And this is how would you identify the document?
The document would say request for telegraphic transfers. Overview of request for telegraphic transfers. And there's also a Citibank statement showing that it went out.
And I pray to mark the two documents, the Citibank request for telegraphic transfer.
Yes, yes.
You said Citibank?
Citibank, yes.
For telegraphic transfer together with the
It says so.
statement. As PMFI 17A and B respectively. Now for the account for the account at Citi, it's at Citibank. It's under whose name?
It's under my personal name.
Mm-hmm. And the one for Bank of Ireland?
That was under Asianic.
Asianic.
And I'm the sole shareholder of Asianic.
Okay. Now,
How many more minutes do you need to cancel?
we have 3 minutes. I'm almost done.
We know
Wonderful.
minutes in the terms.
Now, what do you kindly maybe in finality, this offence, the period during which this started to the end of it, you would say it was between which period to which period?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
When the event started taking place, this offence when it took place, you would say it took place between which period to which period, including the period which you sent money? The entire period for this to occur.
The entire period would have started with Mr. Conti in June 2022, because that's what it was related to, and it continued until July 2024, when they were still trying. Even after that, they were still trying. I mean, in June, on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of June, they were still trying to get $2.5 million for this 150 kilograms that they had taken off me on the 30th of March.
Sorry, come again on with clarity. The period is from which period to which period?
So the period that this whole scheme started would have been with Mr. Conti.
No, in regards to you. In regards to you.
Or just me?
Yes.
Just to me.
Yes.
It would have started in January 24, where we contacted, or Mr. Catetti was put in touch with myself and Mr. Colombo, Conti, and then it's continued. The last conversation I had with Masotta was in October last year, October 24.
Maybe it will only. At what point did you discover the truth?
Sorry. I discovered the truth in May 24, when the revenue, early June, late May, probably early June 24, when the revenue told me that the offices did not exist and the documentation was all fraudulent.
All right. Now, you've confirmed that you did not know them prior. That would be all for this week, Monsieur.
Mr. Mari, how many minutes do you need to work?
It should be quite long. We can step down and take another date. It's quite late now because this is almost. We do in November. I have the month of November.
Just find a date where you can accommodate in October. Because I haven't moved to November. Just find a date in October. Again?
27?
Fine, further hearing. Four crosses up to the 27th.
Much better. Thank you very much. If the court can order to be released to him.
He was to travel outside the country, isn't it?
Yes.
We may need the program to show that he's traveling. Because the date you had given was already passed. Proceed.
Yes, you may proceed to kindly place me on record. My name is Muturi. I hold brief for Modoni, who watches brief for the complainant.
But I'm ready to proceed with PW1.
I'm not sure whether you know where it's from.
I believe we were introducing a document dated 29th January
Correct. That is where we are.
2020.
Yes.
August 2025. We will proceed on from where you left off, okay?
Certainly.
Now, you were informing the court about...
If you recall, we had paid invoices that had been raised by Packfad Trading on 2 days before we went to Masota's office. So this was at Masota's office on the 7th of February. We had paid invoices on the 5th of February, which was the Monday. And on the Wednesday, which was the 7th, he asked me to read it, right? And I read it and I said, this doesn't apply to me. I haven't instructed you. I've already made the payment, because if you read the letter, it first of all is dated the 29th of January 2023.
Yes, that was my question. Did he explain why it was backdated?
He did. He said it was a mistake, okay. Right? And he'll fix it. And I'll come on to that in a minute as well, right? That's all he said. He said, look, I read this letter and I went through, pursuant to our tele conversation. I said, but we never had a telephone conversation. I've never spoke to you before. I've never met you before. And he goes, okay.
So
he goes, it's just that.
Mr. Singh, maybe in summary, what did the letter express? The letter was expressing that I was intending to put a deposit with him, and that he would take my instructions to disperse the funds. But the letter was provided to me, and he was introduced to me after I'd already made payments for invoices that were raised by Packfad to this firm. Was there a bit?
Pardon?
Pause there a bit.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm saying you pause a bit to allow the magistrate to write what you're saying.
I am very sorry.
It's okay.
I forgot.
Now, following the fact that it was to acknowledge that you were instructing him on the disbursement of funds, did the letter acknowledge the funds that you had paid? That is in regards to funds paid as per the invoice in PMFI A and B.
No. And this is why we had a conversation, right? Because it was like, this letter doesn't represent what we've done. And so he said, look, I've been introduced to this by this gentleman, Daniel. I've known him for a long time. We've worked together before. He's come to see me prior to this.
Let me pause you. Mr. Singh, so that we can have an easier way, kindly let your answer be in response to my question, because if you explain further, we may have to go back and forth. Now, I've asked my question if it captured the amounts that you paid. I'll wish for you to have a look at the document.
250 euros.
711, 250 euros. And as per the attachment, when are these funds acknowledged as per the date of the attachment?
When were they acknowledged? On the 7th of February.
Which year?
2024.
You know, I pray to mark the letter of engagement as PMFI 22B. Now, away from this, you have gone to the office, you've paid the funds. Now, what were you to receive after the payment of the total of 711 to 50 euros? What were you to receive?
Okay, for that, we were to be allowed to take, if you recall, previous hearing, we had 31 kilograms of gold stored in my safe, and then there was a consignment for 112 kilograms, which was to be shipped.
Consignment of? Consignment of?
Consignment of?
So there was 112 kilograms of gold, which was to be shipped by freight.
Okay. So now, following this payment, was the shipment done?
No.
Now,
So can I clarify?
yes, you can clarify.
So there was two. There was a 31 kilograms that we were holding as security and collateral for the money paid. So I felt safe paying it. And we were told that we would be allowed to take this with us personally. So there was two of us, myself and Marco, on the 9th of February, which was on the Friday. Hence why this document I signed under duress, really, because it was like we need the money to make sure that all the documentation is ready for you guys to leave on Friday.
What's that date?
So
Proceed.
yeah, because if you look at the document, right, you know, the way it was written, it didn't represent what was going on. But the explanation was, this is how we do it in Kenya. We need to cover everything, right? So it's all done properly by the bank, etc. So I signed it on the basis that I actually had the 31 kilograms under my control
Okay.
at my safe.
Pause there a bit. Because you are aware of where the 31 kilograms are, what of the 112 kilograms? Did you get a chance to see them?
No, I hadn't seen the 112 kilograms. The 112 kilograms was the shipment that Marco had come in 2022 who had seen it. I hadn't.
Now, for purpose of clarification, did you record a statement concerning this?
Pardon? Sorry, say that again.
Did you record a statement concerning what you tell in the court today?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Did you record a statement concerning the events that you're giving accounts of today?
Yes.
Now, you know, I don't know if you can.
112 I did see, but not until the 20th of February.
Yes, that is the clarification I want you to make. So, you didn't see it until the 20th of February.
Okay, so on the 9th of February, which is the Friday, having been to Musoto's office on the 7th of February, we were leaving on the 9th, and we were going to take the 31 kilograms with us, and the 112 was going to be shipped, which I hadn't seen, but the 31 kilograms covered everything that I had paid and Marco had paid before, which was 400,000 euros, if you recall.
Yes.
So we were going to take the 31 kilograms with us. So on the Friday morning, we went to my safe, we took out the 31 kilograms, and we went to Daniel's office.
Was there a bit?
Proceed.
Proceed.
When we got to Daniel's office, there was all the gentlemen there that are sitting in front of you in the dock, and various others. There was custom officers, there was security. They're all recorded on the telephone, which I guess the DCI will take care of later. So at that point, that 31 kilograms was consigned in one box, and we were going to split it into two. So I took 15 and Marco took 16, or whatever the ratio was.
Was there a bit? Proceed.
So the process then proceeded with opening the 31 kilogram box. There was a piece of paper in the 31 kilogram box which we had signed, which showed that it hadn't been touched. So they had verified that it hadn't been touched because it was locked and sealed, so to make sure that nobody had touched it. We then opened it and we proceeded to split it into two smaller blue metallic boxes, where we stored roughly 15 in one and 16 in another.
Yes. Can you don't, be mindful not to repeat yourself, because that you had stated.
Pardon?
Don't repeat yourself. So you're saying,
I'm sorry.
Yes, you had already split between 15 and 16 each.
Yeah, roughly 15, 16. Okay, so these boxes were sealed, and I was under the impression that we were going to take them with us because that's our collateral, right? So it doesn't leave us. So I felt, okay, this is ours. We will take it with us to the airport.
Did you Did you go with it to the airport?
No,
What
because so there were the custom officers there, or at the time I thought they were custom officers, and they said we need to produce the documentation, and they already had the documentation actually. That we need to produce a clearing certificate. Which they said we do at the airport. I said, okay, we'll come with you. We'll keep hold of the blue boxes. And they said that won't be possible. We have to go through a route which by we will do the processing and we will produce the clearing certificate. So I said, I'm not comfortable with this because now you're asking us to separate from the blue box.
Ultimately, did you agree to it?
Yes, when they showed us the documents, and after I spoke to Frank, who we trusted, and to Daniel, who he had, if you recall from the previous conversation, they said these people were honest and reliable, and I felt uncomfortable. Frank said, trust me. Daniel said, trust me, we will meet you at the airport with the product. As uncomfortable as I was, we were leaving in the afternoon, we left the boxes with them.
Okay. Was there a bit?
Proceed.
Now, when you're saying that they showed you documents for these 31 kilograms, did they issue you with any of the documents?
No, they said they need them when they go to clearance, but I said, I want them. They said, no. I said, well, I want to take photographs of them. And I insisted on taking photographs, so I took photographs of them.
Can you remember which documents? Sorry,
Yes.
a minute.
So I took a photograph.
Hold on a bit. Do you remember which documents that you photographed?
Yes, I took a photograph of certificate of ownership, dated the 9th of February 2024.
Certificate of?
Certificate of ownership.
Yes.
And it was in my name and Mr. Marco Colombo's name.
Dated?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Dated? When was it dated?
It was dated the 9th of February 2024.
Okay.
And it said 31 kilograms of gold.
document did you photograph?
Yes, I did photograph.
Which other one?
The next one I photographed was called the Certificate of Origin, also dated the 9th of February, also in the name of myself with my passport number, and Mr. Marco Colombo Conti, again with his passport number.
Proceed. The next document?
The next document was called the Commissa Simplified Ownership Certificate. And these were all stamped by the various authorities. This particular one was stamped by East African Community Revenue, East African Community, Common Market for Eastern and South Africa and Commissa. This was also dated the 9th of February, and again it was in my name and Mr. Colombo's name.
This was the issue that they were trying to sort regarding the documentation.
I don't know what Daniel said because he wasn't speaking to me. I can only relay what Marco was telling me, but what Frank said to me was, because I was speaking to Frank, is that they provided a wrong or maybe a fraudulent document that they shouldn't have provided. Basically, the document they provided purported to show 370 kilograms. I don't know what the document was, but we had only got 31 kilograms and 112 kilograms, and we were being told that the 112 and the 31 kilograms doesn't correspond to this 370 kilogram document that they provided, and we were confused.
Was there a bit? So what solution was proposed?
They weren't preparing a solution, so what they suggested separately was that you should catch the flight. And I was telling Frank, I'm not going to catch the flight. I'm not going to catch it. We're going to resolve this. I'm not leaving. And he was telling me that it's not going to be resolved today. So I said, well, I'm not leaving. And what happened was we got closer and closer and closer to a time the plane was going to depart, where in the end, the staff that were responsible for onboarding came to the lounge calling for myself and Marco, saying, you know, Mr. Conte.
Did you ultimately board the plane?
Ultimately, we boarded the plane because Mr. Catetti said, look, you need to get on the plane and we'll sort it. He will sort this out, he said to me.
That is Mr. Frank Catetti.
Frank Catetti, yes, because Marco was speaking with Daniel.
Okay, who's there? Who's there, please? So you were departing, heading to where?
We were going to Malpensa in Italy because that's where the product was going.
And now the point that you're leaving Frank with the rest with the consignment, what had they promised in regards to when the consignment will get to the destination you were at?
He didn't, right? What Frank said was that he would take responsibility for sorting this out. So, shall I carry on?
So was there any estimated period which you were to expect the consignment?
Not that Friday afternoon, evening when we were leaving, right? So I contacted, when we arrived on Saturday morning, which was the 10th of February, because that was the 9th, we put a call in to the gentleman that Marco knew who served with him in the armed forces, which was Giovanni and Gabriele. We explained to Giovanni and Gabriele what had happened. This was while we were still at the airport, because I had an onward flight and I thought I might as well go back to Ireland in the UK. So we spoke to Giovanni and Gabriele, and they immediately arranged a call with Mr. Catetti, Frank Catetti. Now, surprisingly...
Who's there? I know there are a lot of circumstances, but I wish when you're giving the evidence, give the key issues so that, because the testimony
Okay.
is quite lengthy. Yes. So,
Okay.
so what of material was said during the call when Frank was added to the call?
Okay, so he said that he would take responsibility for sorting this out as we had instructed him, and he had taken, the contract to do this. He would liaise with the other party sitting there next to him, and he would get back to us imminently to do this. I also endeavoured to contact Daniel Ogot on the same day. He did send a message to me saying that I'm liaising with your agent, and I will get back to you. That was also on the same day.
Did they communicate any timelines as to the delivery of the product?
Ultimately, yes. So on the Monday, the 12th of February, Mr. Agot contacted me and said he was working on the issues, and potentially what had happened is that because of that mistake on the Friday with the wrong documentation, his license had been suspended, and that there was now a fine which needed to be paid within 7 days.
Pause there a bit. Pause there a bit. Now, at this point, who is this who's being, because there are a lot of parties, who is this being fined?
So he's saying that the fine had arisen, and he was basically...
Who is this? You're saying he says that...
Oh, sorry. So what happened was that, I'm talking about Daniel now. I'm speaking to Daniel Ogot.
Okay.
And what he said was that he or his company had been issued a fine in the sum of $1,562,000, and his license had been suspended.
Pause there a bit. You say how much? The fine was how much?
$1,562,000.
And the fine was imposed by who?
By the Kenya Revenue Authority.
Did he qualify how the KRA got to this sum of 1.562?
Yeah, he's saying that it was a 20% penalty. I think he said it was a 20% penalty. It was a penalty, but I believe it was a 20% penalty.
Oh, 20% of what?
20% of the value of the goods.
Say that the fine, what did he tell you regarding payment, what he had been told regarding payment of the fine and failure to reach?
So he said that if we don't make the payment within 7 days, then there is every chance that the consignment will be confiscated. And I said, well, 7 days ain't going to work, and it's not going to happen just like that.
So was there a bit? In regards to this fine now, what was he seeking from you? Was he just informing you?
No, he was seeking assistance, because he said we don't have those sort of funds to clear it, and obviously we will work out how to take care of this. So on the Wednesday, which was 2 days later, on the 14th of February, he came back and said, look, the revenue will allow us 28 days to pay this fine, so we've got until the 14th of March to pay it. And I said, well, actually, what is it that you're going to do? So he explained that his client, Quantum, the gentleman Alan there, he had another consignment in the country, which was 1,500 kilograms.
Was there a bit? Was there a bit? Proceed.
He had a consignment of 1,500 kilograms, and he was prepared to separate this and provide me with 150 kilograms as collateral for all the expenses incurred so far and for helping pay the fine of $1,562,000.
Was there?
That's it?
So, and what was your response to this proposal?
It was like, okay, we need to sure that this time, there's a contract that covers this, is tight, and that we make sure that nothing like this occurs again. So I said, I will consider it. So Daniel then sent me some document saying what he thinks it was, and then between us, we tried to put something together, but ultimately he said it will be the lawyer, Masota, who will finalize this contract. That's what we discussed.
Was there a bit?
That's it?
Was there a contract now drafted to that effect?
Yes, there was.
When was it dated?
It was dated the 20th of February.
Confirm, is it before you today?
Can't quite see it clearly, but it was titled Gold Transactions Contract in relation to the penalty notice issued by Kenya Revenue and Customs Authority for the 1-2 kg consignment presently held at Customs Warehouse at Nairobi Airport.
Your counsel can confirm that it's a safe document. And I'm going to mark it as PMFI 3. Now, prior to engaging in sorry. Sorry, just a minute. Now, prior to this contract being drafted, was there any evidence that you had that there were instructions to the council to draft it?
Was there any instructions to council to draft them?
Yes.
I know Daniel recorded that he had sent it to Masota, and there is a message from him that he had sent it. I myself sent an email to Masota.
Maybe let me put it a bit simpler.
That document. That document. Okay, now I'll get to that document. But before we get to that document, right?
I need you to follow systematically my questions because there's a reason why I'm asking that. Because we've introduced a contract and there are documents prior to that.
Right, so that document, yes, that was produced on the 20th of February in Masoto's office the afternoon.
What is the title of the document?
It again says, Letter of Engagement for Legal Services and Escrow Account Management. And it's dated the 20th of February 2023 again.
Okay. You're not free to mark the letter of engagement for 20th February 2023 as PMFI 3B. First one can put you on as the contract as A.
Right, stipulated that provided I had 150 kilograms collateral and I had it in my possession and I had the appropriate documentation which showed that I owned it and that it was separated completely from the 1,500 kilograms, because remember Marco had a problem right in the beginning when they said the 112 was a consignment that was together.
Was there a
so
bit?
The 100, pardon?
Was there a bit?
Okay.
Proceed.
So I wanted complete ownership, both legal and equitable, I wanted to have its certificates of non-criminal origin. I wanted to see the fine and the documentation for the $1,562,000 that had to be paid as a fine from the KRA. It's all in the contract.
Proceed.
I wanted all of that before I would make any payment.
All right. Now,
Right, that's I'm just summarising, or we can go through the
yes,
contract
no.
if you like.
I want you to put it in summary the way you have done. So, pursuant to this demands that you had made on your end, was any of it fulfilled?
Yes. Yes. So I'm glad you asked me that question. So on the morning of the 20th, when I came back to Kenya, we went to Daniel's office. And there, when we went, there were a lot of people. There was security, there was customs, there was a police car, and these people had, guns, so it was all authentic. We went into the office, we were met, and summarising it, me and Marco were shown the 112 kg consignment. We were shown the 31 kg consignment, which was still in its blue boxes and had our original signatures on it. And we were shown the 150 kg consignment as well. So now, in this one room, we had the 112 kg consignment, we had the 31 kg consignment, which was bound with the 112 kg consignment, and we also had the 150 kg consignment that they said they would give me as collateral.
Pause there a bit. Proceed.
So we, and at that time we also had Mr. Kateti was there. Gabrielle had come from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, and we had taken Mr. Giovanni with us as well this time. So
pause there a bit.
we had.
Proceed.
Yes. So on this occasion there was us with Mr. Kateti. Mr. Kateti had brought in what he said was last time the independent assayers from the mineral mines department to do the assay on the 150 kg. They proceeded to do the assay in front of us, verifying that it was gold, and we had brought with us from Italy 6 metallic boxes in which to put 25 kg into each box.
Proceed.
And we proceeded to do that, right? Put the 25 kg in the box with customs there, with the security officers there, and we proceeded to close the boxes, and customs provided 6 seals, 1 for each box. And the seals were put onto each box, and it was then shrink wrapped in black shrinkage paper.
What of documentation?
Right, so, and I think it's important now to talk about that. Before we go, we took those 6 boxes with the escort of customs and the police to my safe. When we got to my safe, it was deposited. All 6 of them. All 6 of them. They're all filmed. It's all on the evidence. It's all there. It was then we went to Masota's, and this is where this document was produced, and this is where the contract we went through. Now, in the contract, I need to say this because in the contract it states exactly what I want before I make a payment. Whereas these gentlemen, including Masota, were saying the payment immediately. And I said, no, we had agreed that I would require this documentation and I'd require this in my ownership before I make a payment. But in the contract, they proceeded to write immediately anyway. But I said, we've got until the 14th. That's when the fine is going to pay. And that's until I have the documentation, I'm not making a payment. So we went through the document that Masota had written, which was similar to the previous one, and I pointed out the errors. I don't like it, the mistake. He goes, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. I said, I'm only going to sign.
When you say document, you're referring to the contract?
No, I'm referring to his contract, which is a letter of engagement.
Or the letter of engagement.
Because I was refusing to sign it first, right? Particularly because it had a authority to disperse funds there attached to it, dated also the 20th of February 2023, even though within the body of the text it says he was appointed on the 20th of February 2024. So I said, I'm not signing this.
This disbursement to authority to disperse funds was to the tune of how much?
It didn't say to the tune of how much, but basically, if you look at it, it was for a whole amount, $1,562,000, because if you look in there, upon deduction of your legal charges and costs to the tune of $156,200, which is a 10% of the value of the fine. And I said, I'm not signing this because this doesn't make sense, right?
Pause there a bit.
That's it.
You're happy to mark the authority to disperse funds dated 20th February 2023 as PMFI 3C. Now, so what, you have made your demand in regards to the documents because you had up to the 14th of March as per what they said, customs said. So did they avail these documents?
Okay, so let me just carry on, right? So, but you noticed that I did sign it and it's got my fingerprint on it, right? I signed it because in the end, Masota agreed that you're not going to make the payment, right? Until you've got all your documents. And I said, yeah. So he goes, what difference does it make to you then? If you sign this, I can't disperse anything. You will only make the payment when you've got everything you want, which is in the contract. I said, okay, fair enough. I said, yeah, I'm not going to make the payment. And I didn't agree with the 10%, by the way. I said to him that was scandalous. But he says, you're not paying it. It's the client, it's PACVAT who's paying it. And I said, it doesn't make sense to me.
All right.
Because...
Now, to take you back just a little bit, the contract for 20th was, who are the parties? Who are the parties for the contract?
It was the seller, which was Quantum Minerals, represented by Alan Lukaska. It was Asianic, represented by me.
Slowly. Again, the first one was...
Sorry. It was Quantum Minerals SPRL, represented by...
Again,
represented...
please come again on the first party. Be a bit more audible.
Quantum Minerals.
That's it.
Represented by who?
Represented by Alan. It's written Lukaska, Madvita, Alan. Right? It's a gentleman sitting there in the middle.
The one in the middle.
One in the middle, next to Agot on my left and Mr. Kateti on my right.
Now, the second party was
Asianic, which is our company, and represented by me.
And in this contract, you are who?
Sapinder Singh, the director.
No, you see the first one, Quantum Minerals were the sellers. So what about you, Asianic?
Oh, Asianic. Asianic was the buyer.
Okay. And the third party?
And the third party was Patvad Trading, who was the agent instructed by the seller to make sure.
Again?
Repeat the third party.
The third party was Patvad Trading Limited, represented by Daniel Ogot, and he was the agent instructed by the seller, Quantum Minerals.
All right. Now, take us to the documents. What did they supply you with the documents that you had demanded to be supplied with prior to payment?
Yes, slowly. And that's why it took that long before I made the payment.
Okay. So which documents did they give?
So they provided ultimately the airway bill. Number 235 dash 75225640, dated the 15th of March
Which year?
2024.
And I pray to mark it as PMFI 8I.
Raised by shipper's name and address, Patvad Trading Limited. Going to Italy again. And it showed that there was a gross weight of 152 kilograms of gold bars, and that there were 4 pieces relating to the other document we mentioned.
Okay.
Packing list.
Any other documents?
You know, this related to the packing list document, which said there were 4 boxes which were packed.
It's understood. Any other document?
No, that's it. I think that was it.
So now, what happened after seeing this document?
Okay, so he came to the hotel and he sat with us, and there was myself, there was Mr. Catetti, there was Mr. Colombo, Marco Colombo, Conti, and there was still Giovanni. We were sat in the Hyatt Hotel and around the table, and he rang this alleged customs officer, now that I know, Susan Okechi, and he got her to explain that she was not able to book the flight for the Friday, which was that day we were sitting in the hotel, which I was looking to leave, due to commitments that she had forgotten about, which were very important, relating to the senior management with KRA relating to budgeting. And so she was going to be away until the following Tuesday, which was the 19th of March. And I was very disappointed because she had obviously
What's that date?
Was it?
Proceed on.
Yeah, so that she was going to be away and she won't be back at her desk until the 19th. So the earliest she could book the flight, and that's why it was booked in, if you look at the airway bill, it was booked in for the 20th of March, which was the following Wednesday. So she was coming back on the 19th, and she said she had booked it in for the 20th of March. If you look at that airway bill, the Turkish airway bill.
Proceed.
Proceed on. So now, what was?
Sorry.
Yeah, so what was the arrangement since she was not able to book the flight?
She said she had booked it with Turkish Airlines because they provided us an airway bill, but it was booked for the 20th and not for the 15th, for that Friday evening. It was booked for the 20th, which I was disappointed because they knew I was leaving.
So what, in regards now to your departure, what happened?
I had to leave because I had other commitments.
All right.
Right? So I left. So I left with the documentation, knowing that this was, I believe now, genuine because he had produced the documents, he had produced the certificates, he had produced the airway bill. So I passed the airway bill and left it with Marco. Marco passed the airway bill to our agent in Italy to basically book that this product was coming in.
So what was the name of your agent in Italy?
Ferrari. It's on the airway bill. It's Ferrari, SPA customs agent, attention Mr. Franco Ferrari.
Franco Ferrari.
And yes, it's related to Ferrari as in the cars.
Now, so now you proceed on. When were you expecting the cargo to be exported?
So now I was expecting the cargo to be exported on Wednesday, the 20th of March, as per the airway bill from Turkish Airlines.
And what happened when?
Okay, so when we gave the airway bill to Ferrari, they checked the booking, and originally, when we were checking it, there was a flight going out on the 20th from Nairobi to Malpensa. But then when he checked it again, it showed that that flight was actually going to London Heathrow, and for the details that they provided to us, it was actually taking a 20 kg consignment, which had nothing to do with us. Nothing whatsoever to do with us.
Pause there a bit.
And that was booked on the 19th of March.
Pause there a bit.
Yes, proceed.
Proceed
It's
on.
based on, and that's based on, the airway bill, it has a number at the top. So that number was put in to see, that it actually contained what was on the airway bill. And clearly, the airway bill, it seemed like, we were told, it's probably not original. Because the airway bill that he put in that number showed a completely different flight going to London with a 20 kg consignment.
Pause
So-
that bit. Pause that bit.
We don't know what it was in the consignment, or it said it was 20.
Proceed.
Carry on?
Yes, proceed on.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's like, okay, I'm in Ireland, I'm in Europe, I'm thinking what's going on. So I get through the weekend. That's the 15th. And so I've come home, and so on the 19th, I didn't have any contact with anybody. On the 20th, when the product was leaving, was supposed to be leaving, I called Daniel and he said he would call me back.
Mm-hmm.
And when he called me back, he had the lady with him, this Susan Okechi, with him in his presence. And he put her on the telephone. And she explained to me that the Turkish Airlines couldn't take the 142 consignment because it was too large. I listened. I didn't say anything at this stage, I listened. And she said, what they said was they could take half of it. And she goes, trying to split it into two, and it would have taken too long, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So she said, I sorted the problem out. I'm going to send it by private jet. I said, really?
Pause that. Remember, stick to the key issues.
Okay, so she basically said, sorry, it's because what I remember in my head.
It's okay.
Picture.
I understand.
Sorry, I apologize.
Proceed on.
So she basically volunteered and said, I'm going to send it by Somali Airlines, a private jet. And I just went, no, you're not. And I refused to accept it. I think, I might have appeared rude. I said, no, I'm not accepting that. And I said, can you put Mr. Agot back on the phone? So he spoke to me and said, look, we'll sort it out. We'll definitely get a flight sorted out for the following day, which was going to be the 21st of March.
Which year?
So I said, okay, 2024, sorry, 21st of March 2024. That morning, on the 21st of March, Mr. Agot, he sent me a message stating that the cargo was definitely leaving that day, right? And he would call me back later in the morning. So I waited for his phone call, and he phoned. And again, he had this lady, Susan Okechi. And this time, the long and short of it was she had arranged through her contacts within the KRA and with
Proceed on.
Through her contacts within the KRA and the UN, a flight which would bring the product to Italy. And I said, no, I don't want a UN flight or a KRA flight. I want specifically a commercial flight, which I know will bring the product to Italy. And she appeared a little bit upset that I wasn't appreciating it. And I said, I don't want to talk. Can you ask Daniel to come on the phone? Later, Daniel called me, and I just said, I was appalled by this, and you need to fix this. He wasn't listening. I said to him, you need to put it on a commercial flight. Didn't want to know. He says, I guarantee you, I promise you, it will get to you. Please leave it with me, trust me.
Was it?
I said, no, we've had too much of this.
Was it?
Proceed on.
Sorry. I've said had too much of this. We need to make sure that it goes on a commercial flight. He refused and said, no, this is the best route. Trust me on this one. I will provide you with a video. I will be there. I will show you it being loaded. I will get you the insurance documents. And I said, you still haven't provided me with a copy of the receipt of the payment of the fine. You were supposed to provide me that as soon as it was paid. He said, I will sort all this out. By the way, this is all recorded in text messages as well.
Was it?
So even the proof of payment to KRA had not been issued?
No, they had promised me that they would provide it to me, right, as soon as it was paid. And that's why they were saying they were rushing, because now they needed to get the product out when I went to Masotas on the 12th of, after I'd been to Feroda House. Now they didn't provide it to me on the 15th.
So let me pause you a bit. He's told you that he's going to sort it. So what came after? What further information did they
So
give?
what came after was silence for 2 days. He was supposed to go on the evening of the 21st to the airport to video and provide me with the documentation of the flight so that we could track it, of the insurance policy for the products, and the receipt. There were a number of things which you'll find on the text message as well, which I repeated back to him saying, this is what you said you will do. He disappeared till Friday evening. He didn't call me, he didn't ring me, I didn't know what was going on. Then on the Friday, he left me a number of messages, voice messages, which you have again, saying that he was under pressure, everybody was chasing him, the Madam Susan Okechi, I'm under pressure. And he says, what he confirmed was, at the end of that day, you will get a call from a UN agent who will confirm to you that they have the consignment and when it will land in Italy.
Pause there.
I actually did get a call on that Friday, the 22nd of March, and it was somebody who called himself Trevor Warren. Trevor Warren.
Was it?
Proceed on.
He claimed to be a diplomat, and he was calling to confirm that he has the 142 kilograms on board a chartered UN flight, and that he will contact me the following day to confirm, what was going on in terms of going to actually Italy. He did contact me on the 23rd. He was allegedly in the Philippines, and they were waiting for further product to pick up before they went to Italy. I was just...
Pause there a bit. Proceed on.
So he said he would call me later when he was going to leave. I didn't know what to believe, what not to believe. Nobody was talking. I just left it. I had the comfort that I had the documentation for the 150, so I just left it. I wasn't panicky as much as I would have been had that not been the case. He called me back on the Saturday evening, and this gentleman said, I'm very sorry, your product cannot be reloaded back onto the UN charter flight. We have received, customs here in the Philippines, in Manila, have received a court order issued by some court in Congo.
Pause there.
Putting a restrict. Sorry.
I want that to go on record clearly.
Was it?
From Congo?
A court order had been received from Congo court, apparently dated the 14th of March, right? 14th of March.
Which year?
2024, saying that there was $4,500,000 owing. And so they were stopping this consignment traveling. I was like, really?
Again?
How much?
$4,500,000.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this Mr. Warren said, we're not going to be taking your product. We're going to be leaving it here. And it was like, how can this be? They've explained to me that they've got 1,500 kilograms in Kenya. They split the consignment. They've given me 150. They've got this money. It just didn't make sense. So I just left it. I didn't say anything. I just thought I'll watch and see what happens. So that was the weekend. So on Monday morning, which was then I think the 25th of March.
Was that it?
Sorry.
Oh, proceed. 25th of March.
We had a four-way conversation. There was myself, there was Mr. Conti, there was Mr. Agot, and there was Alain. And we had a group call.
Repeat the parties again who are present.
Sorry, there was myself, there was Mr. Conti, Marco Conti, who originally went in 2022. Then there was Daniel Agot, and there was Alain Lukuska. I don't know how to pronounce his name. We had a four-way conversation, and all they did was make excuses. You know, the court order, we didn't know, we owe this money. And it was like, I was just listening to it. I didn't say anything, I just listened. And while I was listening, I'd made my mind up, right, that these guys were never going to tell the truth. So after that phone call finished, I rang back Mr. Conti, and I said, look, you know, they're just not being truthful, right? They're not going to do this. They're not going to deliver. The product isn't in Manila. It hasn't gone on no UN charter. I don't believe this. So if we go back to, and I discussed it with him, and I said, look, let's go back to the contract. Let's go look at the terms of the contract and look what it says in the contract. This product isn't going to be delivered. We're now
Which
on
contract
the 20th.
now are you referring to? Because
I'm now referring to the contract dated the 20th of February.
which year?
2024, sorry.
Proceed on.
You have it. And I referred and I read paragraph 6 that it particularly said if party A does not export the 142 kg consignment, paragraph 6.
Agreement, you could transport the consignment using other parties. But there's a mention, you mentioned about using the use of the transit bond.
No, I meant that was written in the contract. That was going to be the bond that had for allegedly on the 19th of February. So when we wrote the document on the 20th, I wasn't expecting any problems. So if everything's done,
Means you could export using any other agent while utilizing that transit bond.
no, not utilizing that transit bond.
Okay.
No.
All right.
That was specifically Mr. Agot's bond.
All right.
That he said he had applied for, and Miss Susan Okechi had said that it had been approved.
Okay. Now, in view of that clause, what did you do?
So then I discussed with Mr. Conti, and I said, well, look, we trust Mr. Cotetti, and we should discuss with him the situation, and we should instruct him. So we rang Mr. Cotetti on the same day. Yes, he is. Mr. Cotetti is the one sitting on the extreme right of, as I look at it. We discussed it with him, and he said.
And the said sum was to cover what?
So this was to cover the smelting, because remember I said to you originally, right, some of the spare funds I had sent to Masotas was that it already had some other expenses covered, because this was going to be smelting now in Tanzania, to export from Tanzania. So there was the inspection and documentation fee of 1% for the 150 kit, certificate of origin again,
Slowly.
agency fee, and then there was this armored truck and freight.
Slowly.
Now, he explained
Slowly.
to us,
You're going a bit too fast.
sorry, I'm sorry, I forget.
That's it.
Based in Tanzania, which would then take it onwards to Dar es Salaam, and then we would process it and export it. So, $153,200.
And what evidence do you have before the court for that payment?
I have proof of payment from the Bank of Ireland.
From
Yeah.
Bank of Ireland.
Well,
A minute.
in May, we already had most of go there. I said, no, we go there because I have all the documents. It's my product. Because he had received a message saying that they'd been arrested for stealing the 150 kg. So I said, they haven't stolen it. I'm the owner. I'm giving the instructions, so let's go and sort this out at the police station. And I think between them, they had either Mr. Chili or somebody had told Marco, just stay put, don't do anything, just wait if we can sort this out. So we went and waited at the airport there, waiting to see what happened. And there was intermittent messages from Mr. Chili, who had obviously retained his phone, and Marco, who was with me at the airport. And essentially, we were getting intermittent messages that it was customs who had phoned the police, and it was the police who had then stopped this. Now, I was shocked. How did customs know?
Was there a bit? Can you proceed on?
And more importantly, my safe don't know what we had. More importantly, my safe would risk reputation damage, right? It can't be my safe. So.
And maybe let me pose a question there. At the time when you went to pick the consignments at my space, did you open it?
Did we open it? No, because it was still sealed exactly as it was.
All right.
It was sealed exactly as it was. I'd taken videos of it. It was in the same location, and I took videos of it again. So, it's all there, the pictures. So it hadn't been opened. Remember, it was sealed, etc. Well, we'll come on to that later on as well, about it.
Was there a bit?
That's it.
Proceed on.
Yes, so during that afternoon, we missed our flights. So we were getting information that the officer who was at the office of Pat Trading, Daniel Lagot, on the 20th of February, when we took the 150 kg, the customs officer, who I remembered clearly and had a picture of because he spoke to me, had a very strong voice and clear English, he had come to the police station. He had come to the police station and identified himself at the police station. And he recognized the three gentlemen, Catetti, Gabriele, and Giovanni. Why? Because these three had also been at the office of Daniel on the 20th of February when we took the 150 kg and stored it at my safe. So they recognized him.
Was there a bit?
That's it.
Now you say this information, were you at the police station or were you at the airport?
No, I was at the airport.
So how are you
I was at
receiving
the
this information?
Information is coming from Giovanni to Marco, and he's sending pictures of the officers, he's sending pictures of them being interviewed, so he's managed to retain his phone somehow, whereas, he's managed to retain it, and so he's taking videos and pictures of where he's at, who he's with, the officer, the picture of the officer, even a few video recordings of what they're being asked, and he's sending them to Marco because he doesn't know what's happening, and obviously they don't feel safe. So I presume we were communicating to make sure that they were safe.
Mm-hmm.
And so the afternoon went, and the custom officer, they all recognised, and the alleged custom officer recognised them. Then they were in a position where, before they came to the airport, they were allegedly released on bail, allegedly. So the money that I had given to Catetti and to Giovanni Chili, apparently that was used for bail, as they understood it. They were then put on bail. And they were then released. Before they were released, the police accompanied them to some depot, allegedly customs depot, where they had to drop off the 150 kg consignment, allegedly back to customs. So they went there under the escort of the police from Quebec police station, and they dropped the 150 kg off with the officer that they had seen on the 20th of February and the officer that came to the police station during that afternoon.
Was there a bit?
Proceed.
Proceed on.
And after that, they came to the airport. It might have been around 5 o'clock. I can't remember
Which
the
airport
exact
is
time.
this?
But sorry, this is back at the Kenyatta
Jomo Kenyatta.
airport. Yes, in Nairobi. And so myself and Marco Conti were still there. They rang and they found us. They came to us and we started talking. We spent 5 minutes with Mr. Catetti, who explained that he had already booked his flight and he needed to go. I was like, sorry? I've sorted my flight out, I'm going back. Oh. And while he was there...
Where was he
I had
going
3
back
friends.
to?
Going back to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Okay.
Remember, we were all supposed to be going back to Dar es Salaam, right? So he said he booked his flight, and I said... And I just kept quiet, listening. During that time, the gentleman, owner of Quantum,
Daniel.
Alan, the gentleman sitting in the middle, Alan, he called me 3 times in a space of a few minutes, and Mr. Catetti said, don't answer it. I said, why not? He said, don't answer it. So I thought, okay, I'll just do what he says for now. We'll deal with this when we get to Tanzania as well. I didn't want to argue. We had lost our flights, so myself and Marco, so we hadn't booked anything because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I wanted to make sure that everybody's fine, and I insisted on going to say, hang on a second, I own this product, so no one's stealing it. Why is this going on? But obviously the correspondence between Giovanni and Marco said, don't do anything yet, just wait. So, I forgot to mention, very important, when they took the product to the customs with this escort of the police to drop it off, Mr. Catetti rang me from wherever he was when they were dropping it off. Allegedly he was there. And he explained to me that the product had been given back to customs, it's under their authority, and we will sort this problem out. And I said to him, get a receipt for the fact that it'd been dropped off, because you know that I own it. In fact, I asked him if I could talk to the customs officer, because allegedly they knew who I was. And he says, no. I said, please, let me talk to the customs officer. Let me talk to him. He goes, it's not a good idea. So I wasn't allowed to talk to him.
Did he get...
For whatever reason.
Pause a bit.
Proceed.
Did he get you the receipt?
No.
All right. So now...
He didn't get me the receipt.
Wow.
He didn't get, and so now I was upset. I didn't have in my possession what I had. And when he left, I basically sat down with these gentlemen and I said, look, this is my analysis of it. Mr. Catetti has
has been with these people since day one, which explains everything. He's lied to us from day one. He's responsible for what happened with the 31 kg. He's now responsible for this, and he has liaised with they were not listening to me. Not Giovanni Chilli, not Gabrielle, and not Marco. Because they are the ones that have brought him on, and I understood that, and so do you. But I'm trying to say to you, this is the only plausible reason for why this has happened. Nobody else knew. Nobody else knew what we were doing.
So
only Mr. Katetti.
So ultimately, what did you decide to do?
We had no choice, right? We were going to go. I wanted to speak to Mr. Katetti. I wanted to know what happened. He had disappeared within 5 minutes. So we caught the plane and went to Dar es Salaam, and we stayed there. Well, I stayed there for about 5 days. I can't remember exactly how long I stayed there. And during that time when I was there, because now we've moved into early April, 1st of April, 2nd of April, I can't remember what day, I'm getting telephone calls and messages from Alam saying, I know what you've done, pretending that, he had nothing to do with it, now I'm in trouble, now do this. And during this period, I just ignored him because it seemed like to me it was all, he sent me messages which you can find on the phones, and I just stayed quiet. And then I wrote to him, I said, listen, he called me a liar.
Just what did Alan want?
He wanted to talk to me. Mm-hmm. He wanted me to resolve the problem. A problem that I said was, which in my head was his doing and what he had done. So I spoke to Katetti with the others present, and he said he had arranged a call with the officer who was responsible for this at customs. This was very early April. I don't know whether it was the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd of April, which is within a few days of going into Tanzania. And he said, you can be on the call and you can listen and we can work out a solution.
Pause that bit. Proceed on.
Right, so now I'd also spoken to Mr. Ogot, Daniel Ogot by now, and he had mentioned that he had had a call from an officer called John Mwangi. He had mentioned that, so I had made a note of the name, and he explained that, this is what had happened, and etc., and I just listened. And then when Mr. Katetti in Dar es Salaam said, I'm going to speak to this officer called Jonas. His name is John Mwangi. I thought, John Mwangi from Daniel Ogot, and John Mwangi from Mr. Katetti, Frank Katetti. Coincidence. Okay, let's go with this. I did a little bit of research and see if I could find this John Mwangi, and I found him on the internet, advertising himself as he was there on LinkedIn, I think it was, I can't remember, that he was a customs officer and worked for the KRA, and his name was John Mwangi, and there was a picture of him, and that was the identical picture of who I remembered on the 20th of February. I then showed the picture discreetly to Gabrielle and to Giovanni and said, was this the officer that came? And they said, yes. That was the officer that came to the police station on Saturday the 30th of March and was the same officer who came and they saw on the 20th of February in Daniel's office.
Pause there a bit.
Okay.
Proceed on.
So when then Mr. Katetti, he arranged a phone call with this John Mwangi, and he rang him in my presence and in the other 3 people present. We went into one of the bedrooms and he rang him. And he discussed with him, right, what the situation was and what options there were for to resolve this. Now, I was listening to this, and I remember very clearly the voice was not identical to the one that I recalled on the 20th of February, which was a very strong, firm voice and very clear. This was not so strong and not so clear, but I listened. And the long and short of it was that the officer had spoken to his senior officer, who they all understood that the product belonged to myself, and they were prepared to help. And then they gave 3 options of helping. One of the first options was that they, as in customs, would bring it to the Namanga border?
Was there a bit?
Is it?
Well, they could bring it to the Namanga border, and it would cost me, or it cost us $80,000. Or we could pay all the taxes and pay whatever else needed to be paid, and they could export it from where they were. Or the third one, they could take the product to Dubai, but we need to pay them some up front, and we pay them the balance when it gets to Dubai.
Was there a bit?
So.
Proceed on. So which option did you take?
Pardon? I didn't take any option. I wasn't going to take the option when I already mistrusted, Kateti. I wanted to know what was going on. I was trying to find out. I suppose I was in an investigative mode, trying to find out what was going on. And I think from the feedback from my colleagues, particularly Mr. Conti, he said, look, he thinks that you suspect him. Because obviously Mr. Kateti had a word with Conti and said, look, he doesn't trust me. And I said to Marco, I don't trust him. But he goes, yeah, but he's trying to help us. I said, he's not helping us. He's looking after himself. But I'll stay quiet and we'll see where this goes. And in the end, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to listen to anymore. I packed up and I left. I went back to Europe. They stayed there to try and resolve it. And then I just started getting calls constantly from all 3 of them, Kateti, from Alan, from Daniel. We can resolve this, we can resolve this, we can resolve this. And that was throughout April. And they were basically saying that they needed to resolve this and they need $4.5 million. And I just passive at this point, trying to figure out what to do. And I explained to them that they hadn't provided the receipt for the penalty, which was one of the conditions.
So they were asking for $4.5 million.
$4.5 million, yeah, that's what they needed to clear the fine or the amount that had been ordered by the court in Congo. So I just thought, you know what, I'll play along with this and see where they go. I'm just going to see what happens, because I don't trust them, but I'll just follow it through. So they were obviously still in their mind now, right? This guy, these guys have spent $3 million, so they're not going to walk away from it. They must want it back. And of course you want it back. So I was trying to think how they're thinking in terms of where are they going to go with this? I need to resolve this. My tendency was to go and report it, but it meant that I needed to go back to Kenya, and the month of April wasn't turning out to be very good. So I had a lot of conversations with these guys because they kept on ringing, because they still wanted to do the deal. Then on the 15th of April, because they were trying to design how to do it, how to protect you, how to give you, more product. Basically, we will get the 150 kg back for you. You will store it, you export it. Alan sent me the penalty receipt. He WhatsApped it to me on the 15th of April.
When is the penalty receipt dated?
Pardon?
When is the penalty receipt dated?
It's dated the 19th of March 2024, and the time on it stamped is 13/24/44.
Issued by?
Issued by East African Community. I can't make out what it is because when I printed it, I can't. The emblem doesn't suit what it is.
And
There was.
issued to who?
It was issued to Patvad Trading Co. Limited.
Mm-hmm. You're not free to
Name of exporter Quantum Minerals. And it said tax obligation, customs penalty, original or amended original, issuing station, JKIA Nairobi. The date acknowledgement is the date I've told you, and then it's got the reference number scribbled out. Right, that's all I got from these guys.
Does it contain the amount?
Did it contain the amount? Yes, it did. At the bottom, where it showed the payment summary of $1,562,000.
You're not free to mark the said penalty receipt as PMFI 10.
This hurt me, this document, because it was like they had the audacity to send me a document which clearly looks fraudulent. This is not something the KRA has issued. And I thought, okay, now I have to figure out what to do. And I listened to them, and I thought, I need to get my money back, and I want the product back. So how do I do this? So on the 24th of April, Daniel raised an invoice to recover the 150 kg. And the same cycle started again in a way. This invoice was for €2,478,317.
2 million?
€2,478,317. Now,
When you say Daniel raised, it was personally or through his company?
through his company, Patvad Trading again, the same format, I apologize. I should make it very clear.
Dated?
Dated the 24th of April, 2024.
You're not free to mark it as PMFI 11.
To send me messages. They continued to, we're in trouble, we need to do this, we will get you the 150, you come and meet customs. And I listened. In the middle of May, I decided that I needed to do something properly. I need to push this and say, look, we can do this, we're setting up. And they had spoken to Masota again by now, the solicitor. So Masota started contacting me around about, but I had already arranged to go and see the KRA, but I didn't tell him that. So he then said, I will go to the police station, I will go to the various offices and I'll find out what's going on. He came back and said, there's nothing going on. There's nobody been arrested, there's nothing going on, there's no bail conditions, right? Those people did.
Of the statutory declaration?
Who was there? I'm sorry, I don't know what that means.
The person who seemed to have sworn it at the bottom. Sworn out.
Sworn before me, the Commissioner of Oaths. It's called.
Before you get to the Commissioner oath is sworn at Nairobi by whom?
Masota Obunga
By Mosota Obunga.
and
I pray to mark
Victor Masota Obunga.
the statutory declaration by Victor Mosota Obunga, made on the 15th of May 2024 as PMFI 12.
So he was trying to reassure me that everything is fine, you come into the country, we look after you, you're not going to get arrested, because he had now already been talking to Mr. Ogot and Alan. And so he knew that there was $4.5 million that they were talking about, and he was ready to receive it. So I said, no, it's not going to happen. He goes, look, everything will be clean, I'm going to send you an invitation,
So ultimately,
which he did on the 16th.
So an invitation on the
Which he did, yeah, which he did on the 16th of May. And with that, he also sent further documents for similar to contracts to basically receive these funds into. I have them as emails, but I don't have them in this file. Right, but you should have them.
So the invitation of 16th May 2024.
16th of May 2024, correct. Invitation for a business overture.
For business?
And with that, he sent also 2 documents to sign in the same format of escrow services with 2 different banks.
Just a minute. I wish to mark the invitation for business overture. OVETURE, dated 16th May 2024. As PMFI. It can go as, because for the same person, 12B. The first one can go as 12B. So what you say? Which other document did he send you?
I'll have to look at my email. Just bear with me. 16th of May. Can I do that? Am I allowed to do that?
Yes, you can. Let me.
Okay.
Because I have the document. Maybe to.
There was basically there were emails which were basically. I'm not sure if I'll find it now. Emails. What's that?
Are you familiar with this document?
Let me have a look.
I know.
Yes, that's it. Those are the documents, correct. And I think I signed. If you have a look, I think I signed it on the 26th of May.
There's a.
Is that right? 26th of May.
This is a letter of engagement for legal services and escrow account management dated 16th May 2024. Which I pray to mark as PMFI.
There was
12. PMFI.
There were 2 of them for 2 banks.
Was it?
Now, so this, what was accompanying this letter of engagement for 16th May 2024?
What was accompanying which letter dated which date? Sorry.
This one, the letter of engagement for legal services and escrow account
Okay, so
management.
he basically, there was a document which he wanted me to sign, which was basically saying that I accept your services.
You were saying there were 2 documents pertaining to.
Yes, they were identical. One named one bank, one was Stanbic, and the other one named another bank. I can find it. You really need me to. Pretty sure it was dated the 16th.
Oh yes, there are 2 of them.
Yeah, there was 2.
Yes, there's one for. You may be able to read. Because you supplied these documents, one for National Bank and the other one for.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
The one with marked as 2C is for.
And Stanbic.
Is for Stanbic.
Yes.
And for National Bank, ready to go as PMFI 12D.
you've got them anyway, so that's fine.
No, proceed.
Okay. So I then, so that was the 26th. Yeah, then on the following day, then Okachi, John Mwangi, they hadn't identified any of, basically everything that I was given, they said it's not real, it was fraudulent.
Complete that statement. So they confirmed that Susan
Okachi was not a customs officer. They had found nobody of that name, right, or identified anybody who was capable of doing what I had explained. Certainly no one called John Mwangi, even though he advertised himself in the LinkedIn as a customs officer. They weren't aware of him, he didn't exist. And the documentation and for example, the fine document, no, not real. The payment receipt, their summary was, this is all the documentation is fraudulent. We can't deal with this. We have to hand it over to the Director of Criminal Investigations. So they explained that they had contacted the Director of Criminal Investigations, and his name was Mr. Amin. Mr. Amin had identified an officer called Mr. Kariyuki, and Mr. Kariyuki's contact details are as follows. He will contact you, or you can contact him, because this is now a criminal matter. And they weren't allowed to apparently investigate, as I understood it. I had...
Pause there a bit.
I had other departments with the KRA who contacted me and wanted to understand what had gone on, who was involved, what was the roles of the solicitors, what was the role of these individuals. And I said, okay, look, I've been to your office, and I was prepared to share the information with them. And then I spoke to the DCI and said, look, can I duplicate and replicate the information to these guys? And I put them together. I said, you guys talk to each other because you have all the information. So I explained to the other departments in the KRA that this had gone on to the DCI and they should liaise with them directly because I didn't want to confuse people. And so I left it like that. And so when I contacted Mr. Kariyuki, he spoke through with what they had been, given, and he said, "Well, you need to come to Nairobi, and you need to explain and provide evidence and witness statement for us to proceed." So I arranged to come to Nairobi in mid-June, because I wanted to obviously now resolve this. Now, during this time, the gentlemen behind you were still, wanting to do the transaction. They still wanted me. So the idea was that they would show me the 150 kilograms of the consignment, which I had. I would go to customs directly with them. They would prove that they have it. We would recover it and put it back in my safe with my documents. I would put the money into Masota's account.
Pause there.
Right, so let me just go back 1 minute. So Mr. Agot from PatFat Trading had already issued an invoice, as you know, on the 24th of April for what they thought was roughly $2.5 million, but it was more than that, but that's what they quoted it to in euros. Then, because they were after $4.5 million, Alan from Quantum issued an invoice to me on the 21st of May for $2 million. This invoice...
Invoice for $2 million.
$2 million.
Was issued by which company?
Quantum Minerals.
On which date?
21st of May 2024.
And I pray to mark it as PMA 513.
And it referenced on their part payment of the ordinance, right, dated the 14th of March 2024, which was the 4.5 million alleged court amount that had to be given to some people. So he said, I'll put 2 million in. So Mr. Ogot had raised through PAPFAT trading what they thought was $2.5 million, which was actually in euros. And Alan from Quantum was now raising an invoice for $2 million, so which is the $4.5 million they were now after.
Okay. So how did you use this to your advantage?
So I said, I'm not going to pay the 2 million. We'll look at doing the 2.5 for just purely, because he wanted, so let's pay, Alan wanted the $2 million so that he said that he could show the people that he owed the money to in Congo, and it was being held by them, and they won't let him go until he gave them the money. And yet, he was free to speak, he didn't sound stressed, but, you know, I need to give these people the money, I can't move. And I said, okay, let me deal with Mr. Ogot first for recovering recovering the 150 kilos, because clearly he wants $2.5 million. We've already expended approximately $3 million, so this will be now up to $5.5 million. Is there enough in the 150 kg? Yes. But did I have any intention of doing it? If I'm honest with you, no, because I'd already found out this was all fraudulent.
So my question is, how did you use this to your advantage?
Oh, sorry. So I explained all of this to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, that this is what these gentlemen wanted to do. And they wanted me to come and see the 150 kg. They wanted to then move it to there. There was a deal on about the rest of the 1350. Remember, this was one consignment before, which was split into two. But I said I was only interested. So the DCI said, well, has anything been arranged? I said, yes, I'm supposed to be meeting them, and they were supposed to show me. And they said, well, you should carry on doing what you're doing. You should meet them. You should follow it through. I said, okay, I'll do that. So that's what I agreed. Sorry.
Pause. I just want you to pause a bit.
Oh, sorry.
Proceed.
Proceed on.
So I had agreed with Mr. Ogot and Alan a plan for the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th, right, of June. On the 15th, which was a Saturday morning, is when they would show me the 150 kilograms, right, just to reassure me that it existed, and they would take me to customs office to meet the customs officer, and we would discuss and arrange then to take the 150 kg, validate it properly on the Monday, which was the 17th of June, so that we could open it, verify it's still there, make sure it's still, you know, the real gold, and then we would move it to my safe. Now, and then
proceed on.
And then Alan Lukuska of Quantum Minerals, he would fly into Nairobi on the Sunday, the 16th of June, and he would meet me on the 16th. We would do a new contract for the 150 kg and for the 1350 kg, so the terms that regulated it. And then we would go to, this would be done with Masota, again, the solicitor. And then on Monday, on the 17th of June, we would go to Daniel's office where the 150 kg and the 1,350 kg would be brought to Daniel's office for us to verify everything in terms of its authenticity.
Was that?
Proceed.
Proceed on. When
Now-
you came to Monday, what happened now?
Pardon?
On Monday, what happened?
No, I should tell you what happened on Saturday.
Oh, on
Because on Saturday, Mr. Agot had arranged to pick me up in the morning from the airport because I hadn't told nobody that I was coming into Nairobi other than the DCI on the 13th. So I then went to meet Agot as if I'd landed on the Saturday morning at the airport, and he picked me up from the airport with his colleague, Lemon. So the two of them, then they picked me up, went to the car park, we got into the vehicle, and we drove on the airport campus to a place which was not far from there, which looked like it was a customs office, and there was warehouses there. And I think one or two of them may have been customs, well, not customs, but they were definitely related to products which probably need to be handled by customs or the KRA. Anyway, we went to the office Saturday morning at about 7:15 in the morning. I can't remember the exact time. I know exactly where it was. We went there, we parked up, and we went into the actual office itself, which they claimed it was the office of the Kenya Revenue Authority. We were shown in, we sat down, and we waited for somebody to attend to us. Then somebody called Stephen came into the office. He was dressed in what looked like a custom attire, as if he was somebody formal, with the white shirt, the stripes and everything. Came into the office, introduced himself, and said, okay, you've come to see the product, can I have your passport? He took my passport, he took a copy of it. I remember it very well because I was like worried that he would look at it and see when I came in, because I made out that I already came in that morning because they picked me from the airport and I actually come in 2 days earlier. But he didn't. He came back with my passport, he wanted my telephone number, he wanted my email address, which I gave him, and then from that room we went into another room where they had stored the 6 boxes that were originally in my safe and had been taken by the police. So there was myself, there was Mr. Agot Daniel, there was Lemon, who is allegedly the cousin of Alan, and then there was these officers. And one of the officers that I recognized was John Mwangi. He was there in the office which this Stephen took me into.
Was a boss.
And they had...
Proceed.
Proceed on.
Yeah. So Mr. Gott said to me, you remember Mr. Mwangi, John Mwangi? I said, yes, I do. And I shook his hand, and Mr. Mwangi said, he didn't really say anything, right? So he had a colleague with him, and they had the 6 boxes on some kind of trolley. They offloaded them and put them onto the floor. And we're now in the office of Stephen. So they took them out and they showed me the thing, and they still looked identical as what they were when I took them out of my safe. They were still sealed. They were a little bit, ruffled because it's obviously with movement, and some of the black seal that was around it had torn. And I said, okay, can I take a picture of these just for my record? And they allowed me to take a picture. So while I was taking a picture, I sort of like discreetly took pictures of the people within the room as well, including Stephen, including John Mwangi, including the others. So when we finished, we went back into the other office. I don't know Stephen's surname. He came back in, and then he went through a number of questions, where's the product going? When's it going? How quickly are you shipping it? I left Mr. Gott to answer most of those questions. And he explained that...
Slowly.
Sorry.
Proceed.
He explained, Mr. Gott of Papa explained that on the Monday, he was basically having these 6 boxes, which was 150 kg, which was at that office, transported to his office, which I've been to before several times, and there we were going to test the product to make sure that it's still the product that was originally put into these containers. And they would also bring the 1,350 to validate it somehow. So that was basically that conversation. We finished, and then we left and we went to Masota's office. Straight after that, myself, Mr. Abbott, and his colleague Lemon. We got to Masota's office, who was already expecting us. We discussed what had just happened. In fact, I remember it clearly. Mr. Abbott explained to Masota, this officer, Stephen, he was really abrupt and rude, and he was asking him for his telephone number, he was asking him for his email. I didn't think nothing of it, to be honest, but, so I remember clearly, Masota rang somebody, and he said, look, I've got Dr. Singh here, and, he went to see the customs office to see his product, and they were asking him all these questions. And I didn't ask him for that. I didn't think nothing of it, but he put this so-called KRA officer and said, he apologized and said that shouldn't have happened and we'll take care of it. And it's like, okay, I left it. So at that point we discussed what was required for the contract, how the contract will be addressed, what needed to be done, when the money would be sent. The money needs to be sent now. I said it's the weekend. You can't send the money at the weekend. I can initiate it, but you can't send it. So they said okay, and we agreed that I was expecting the product on Monday, and we left it at that. And we went. I went to the hotel. I didn't tell them where I was staying, but they insisted on dropping me off, and so they dropped me off at another hotel.
Was that it? Proceed on.
So that was Saturday, and then I think, I don't know whether Mr. Agot called me or I called Mr. Agot to arrange what was happening on the Sunday, because Mr. Lakuska, Alan Lakuska, was coming into Nairobi allegedly, and we were going to meet and we were going to draw up the contract and finalize it and sign it on the Sunday at Masota's office. And then on Monday we were going to then go to Daniel's office to do what we had arranged on Saturday. So Mr. Lakuska, we agreed to meet at 7 o'clock on the 16th, which was a Sunday. We met at the Hyatt. He brought his cousin with him, Lemon. We discussed the terms. We discussed how this was going to work. And I said I was only going to do the initial 2.5. I'm not going to do anything else. That product needed to be back with me at my safe before I do anything else. And no one's releasing any money until that happens. Now, that was Sunday, and we're supposed to then have met Masoto with Mr. Agot, or Daniel Agot, at his office. But because we had met late in the evening, it was running late, we agreed that we would meet the following morning in Masoto's office to finalize the documents, the contract. 2024.
That's it.
And you think, kindly read out again the heading.
Pardon?
Read out the heading of the agreement.
The heading is Go Transactions Agreement in relation to 150 kg slash 1,350 kg slash 142 kg consignments at Nairobi, Kenya.
Now, for this contract, just for the purpose of, just in brief, who are the parties?
The parties were Quantum Minerals, again, represented by Alan Lakuska. There was Asianic Limited, represented myself, Sapinder Singh. And then there was Patvat Trading Limited, represented by Daniel Agot as the agent. The seller being again Quantum Minerals, Asianic Limited being the buyer.
And I put to mark the said agreement as PMFI 14. Now, that was the agreement between, in regards to the kgs. What about the money? Was there any agreement concerning the money?
That was related to the documents that Masota had sent on the 16th of May, which you referred to earlier, which I signed on the 26th of May.
Now, those ones we had marked them, and these ones were for PMFI 14B. The previous one can go as PMFI 14A. The escrow agreement was for how much?
The escrow agreement was for $2,500,000. Patvat Trading Limited as the agent.
Now proceed on with the events of that day. Proceed on with the events of that day, of the Monday.
Okay, so these documents, right, were signed. I mean, we went to the office. These documents were already prepared in a way. Right? They wasn't because within 5 minutes of arriving, Mr. Agot said he was leaving and signed the documents. He signed them. And he said, I've got to go back to the office and prepare for the arrival and receive the product that's coming. Because obviously we had agreed and arranged to test the 150 kg and potentially the 1,350 kg at Daniel's office. So Mr. Agot left and said he was going to prepare and get that ready, and that he will call us as soon as he knows that it's on his way, and it shouldn't be long. You know, it should be an hour maybe at the max. So it was all very quick that morning, right? Mr. Masota said he was leaving. He said he was going to go and have breakfast. And then Alan and Lemon suggested that we go and wait at some cafe or restaurant. And we ended up driving, and we ended up at it was a cafe or restaurant. We definitely ended up somewhere, parked up and waiting for Mr. Agot to contact us. We were there for about an hour. We got there somewhere around about maybe 10 o'clock. And the gentleman, Alan Lakuska and his cousin Lemon, they had breakfast. And then when they finished, we went to the car. They were on the phone to a number of people. I couldn't understand what they were saying because they were speaking in their dialect. And then we had a call from Mr. Agot saying that there's been a slight delay. It will happen, but it probably won't happen until the afternoon. It was decided that Alan and his cousin Lennon, they would drop me back at the hotel, and then when Mr. Agot had confirmed the time for the afternoon, they would contact me, or Daniel Agot would contact me, and then we would go together to Mr. Agot's office in the afternoon to verify the 150 kg and the 1,000. More importantly, it's 150 kg. But at this point in time, I believe
Proceed.
at this point in time, I believe, or I recall that the 17th of June might have been a bank holiday, or there was something going on. I can't remember. So nothing happened on that Monday. They didn't arrange anything. I had several calls from the solicitor asking what was going on. I explained to him that there had been a delay. I don't know why. So he said he would sort it out. So Masota spoke to whoever he spoke to, whether it was Alan, whether it was Mr. Agot, I don't know. He called me back and said it would definitely be resolved the following day. And he explained that the money hadn't arrived in the account. And I said, okay. But tried to explain to him that it was a weekend, and so the money is never going to arrive when it's been sent, or if it's sent, it takes at least 2 days. So for me, it was like they were waiting for the money to come into the account before they did anything. And on the Tuesday, again, Masata rang up at some stage. I can't remember at what time during that lunchtime. The money still hadn't come in. But had I arranged to go and see the product and explain to him, no, they haven't. And in my own head, it was they weren't going to show me the product until they knew the money was in the account. And so I was trying to see whether they would show me the product or they wouldn't. And I didn't think they would, but I needed to know. Then what happened was Alan, that during while we were waiting, I don't know whether it was on the Wednesday, which would have been the 19th of June, or the 20th, or it might have been the 19th. He called me and he goes, you haven't told us the truth. And I said, what's the truth? He said, you didn't come in to Nairobi on the 15th of June. I just listened, I didn't respond. He said, you came in on the 13th. And I said, okay, but I never said to you when I'm coming in. I just said to you, I'll meet you at the airport on the 15th. He goes, no, you told us that you're coming on the 15th. He goes, we've got our contacts at the airport, we've got our contacts at customs, we have our contacts in the police. I said, and? He goes, why didn't you tell us? I said, I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. You know that I do other business here. It's my business. So then from that point, I worked out they were never going to show me the 150 kg. And then the story started changing about, this 150 kg now, right, has been seized again by customs. But we've got somebody very senior in Uganda who can sort this out. We've got the president's son who will have a word with customs, and it just started the story again. So I just carried on listening thereafter, on listening to them, listening to Masata, continued listening to them, especially Masata, and clearly he wasn't going to go in.
So ultimately, what did you decide to do?
Pardon?
What did you when you realized
So
when you came to the
I
realization? What did you do?
So I then wanted to give my statement, right, to the DCI about what had happened since the beginning of January this year, or last year, sorry, 2024. I provided them a statement during the course of that week. I gave them all the documentation and the evidence, and I had Masota constantly ringing me to arrange a meeting with Daniel Agot and Alan, the four of us together. And I said no. And he was like, we can sort this out, the four of us. We don't need to go anywhere else. We just need to sit down. And they suggested we go to, we meet in a place called Karen, I think it was, a shopping centre there, and go for a meal. I wasn't up for that, and I said no. I said, if you want to meet or discuss anything, first of all, you need to talk to these two gentlemen, Daniel Agot and Alan, and identify and verify that the product is real. I haven't verified it's real. I've seen 6 cases. Then I think what happened, no, I think, I know what happened. The solicitor, he wrote a letter to the Department of Criminal Investigations saying that he had represented myself on previous occasions, but on this occasion he has to report that I'm not doing things and I purported to do this, and that he wants to report me for some criminal activity regarding money laundering. I gave that letter straight away to the Department of Criminal Investigations and said, look, you know, this is what Masota has sent me. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't done it. And they said, just leave it with us. So, and Masota was still communicating with me. And I said, look, you know, you've done what you've done, so you've covered yourself. You don't need to keep on contacting me, but if that's what you wanted to do and you wanted to look after yourself, I said, do it. I said, I haven't done anything wrong, and so you've done it, so there's nothing else to do. Then later on I found out that he had actually withdrawn it. I don't know which day he drew it. It'll be all on my phone, in the text messages and the phone calls, it's in there. And then that pattern of calls continued for the next few months, particularly with Alan, and then the conversations with Mr. Katetti continued as well, because now he was pretending that he didn't know anything about this, because they were saying that he was responsible for the 150 kg, he knew what he was doing, and he took your instructions. So I just listened and recorded, listened and recorded. The scenario then developed where Alan was offering to give me the product in Uganda. Alan Lukaska of Quantum Minerals. He wanted to say, look, we can resolve this. You don't need to worry about the 150 kg in Kenya. We'll take care of that. And then he spent quite a lot of time providing me with documents related to Uganda, related to his alleged company in Uganda, which I checked out myself independently through others. And again, even these were fabricated. So I went back to him, and even this is in messages that, look, you're playing the same game. This is not your company. This is not real. Why are you doing this? And then he said, you should meet some people. I said, well, I go to Uganda anyway. And I didn't tell him when I go. And that's it. It just went from there then. There's nothing else to say.
Now, do you know how they, because today they're in court following an arrest, do you know how they were arrested?
Do I know how they were arrested? No.
All right. Now, in regards to all the payments that you made.
Other than Mr. Katetti, I understand how Mr. Katetti was arrested. He had flown into Nairobi from Tanzania, and they had arrested him at the airport. that's something that he had explained to me.
After all of them were arrested, how did the officers confirm that they had arrested the right people?
The officers asked me to verify the names and the pictures that they showed me, and I confirmed to them that these are the people.
Okay, put them.
Because I also got pictures of them, I've got videos of them, I've got everything, and plus obviously my memory will recognize them.
Okay. Now, just a few questions before we because we've mentioned a lot of things. These are a few things in total. In total, how much gold were you expecting from them in terms of kgs?
In total, the original transaction was
Now, just sum it
100
up because we've already gone through the evidence. In total,
Yeah,
it's
the total sum was the 31 kg and the 112, and then from there it precipitated. So then it became the 142 and the 150, and that was really the only transaction that we were doing.
See, coach, we have to be precise. My question is very precise. We have to be precise. When in this matter, the total amount, let's start maybe with the total amount you paid. How much did you pay in total?
In total, between me and Marco, we paid $3 million.
You say that you took up the sum for Marco.
Pardon?
When it came to payment, the initial payment, you say that you came and took over what he had started. So now
No, we're working together. So between ourselves, right? The way you deal with gold, you don't pay for it up front. You pay for it once it's been assayed at the refinery.
I understand. I'm saying when you had already explained earlier, it's because I want us to sum it up. The last time when you were testifying, that there was what Marco had paid. Clearance certificate.
And that number was 140 770
Sorry, a bit slowly. So this one is for the a mineral clearance certificate for gold. What quantity?
For 150 kilograms of gold.
Certificate number?
Certificate number 140 770 /06 4ZL.
The second one as PMFI 8H.
He asked me to sign them.
And to fix my thumbprint on the documents.
On the same day,